Hello, everybody. My name's Eddie. We're here on the Trail Less Traveled. I'm traveling around the world right now in search of waves, adventure, culture, food, art, all of it, on a 2-year trip around the world. If you want to follow me, you can find me at Flowrad Life. It's FLOWRAD Life, all one word, on Instagram. That's where I'm posting my photos and you can see what I'm up to. I met Mandela about a couple months ago in Australia, on the coast of the Sunshine Coast in Australia. And she has tasked me to interview interesting Flowrad people that I meet from around the world. And today I met Matt. Hello, Matt.
Are you inferring that I'm interesting by that introduction?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, a big introduction here, but met Matt today. Quick shout out to all the people that were affected today in New Zealand. I was so frustrated by it. I saw Matt. I needed a vent. We started talking. I find out that Matt's on a 15-year plus, just to give a number, trip around the world on his tricycle.
Mm-hmm. Trike.
On his trike.
Tricycle.
Matt,
three-wheeled bicycle. Do you know that the actual technical name for my trike is a tadpole trike?
Really?
Yeah, because tadpoles have a wide front and a little tail. I'm glad they call it don't call it a spermy trike, which could be the same thing. It's
dumb surfer over here. I was envisioning a tricycle when he told me he was triking
a big wheel. Oh, he's riding a big wheel.
I was like, oh yeah, he's a big boy. And
I am a big boy.
Anyway, Matt's been living in China for the last 10 years, speaks perfect Chinese.
Pretty good.
And now he's embarking on this mission to trike around the whole world, which is pretty stunning. And he's, also in search of, similar things. I'm surfing around the world. He's triking, but ultimately we're chasing cultures, food, language, people. And so we're here to hear Matt's story.
Yeah. Well, Eddie does Flowrad, which is like Nomad, but flow state Nomad. And then I mean, flow for you is yo for me. Like my brand or my motto, my mantra is JaYoe. It's a word that I heard in China early on when I first moved there 10 years ago. Somebody's running a race, you'll hear everybody encouraging that person with JaYoe, JaYoe. Somebody's, it doesn't have to be some physical activity. It can be something, somebody's taking a test, trying to get a new job. Somebody's, pushing themselves to do something great. You would say JaYoe. Basically, Ja means to add, Yo means fuel. So by saying JaYoe, you're saying add whatever you need, whatever drives you, add that to succeed, So yo is a lot like flow in your definition of like what flow state is. When you're riding that high, that thing that you think is, but like your flow state is different than another person's flow, right? Just like my yo is different than your yo. Mine is trike, yours is surfing. We have different tools for the same objective. I moved to China out of abject failure. I've always been an entrepreneur. I grew up in Detroit. I lived on yachts in the Caribbean. I've lived in Las Vegas for 5 years. I've had 60 plus jobs. I've been a firefighter, an EMT. I've been a medic and went to school for marine biology or biochemistry, minoring in Chinese. I have a very rich background of talents. I'm like a master. What is that saying? Like master of none, knower of many, master of none.
Exactly,
But the one thing that's always stayed consistent is that I like to be an entrepreneur. I like to be a self-starter. I like to have projects that I am proud of that keep me away from the 9-to-5. I've always feared the 9-to-5. I always thought that once you enter that sort of a, and I'm saying this from a state of a person who's done the 9-to-5. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm just coming at this from like I just don't want to do that. It's like literally I've been down that road. I don't want to do it. Corporate America. I've done those things. I've had the 6-figure income and I've given it up. but I've always wanted to do my own thing. And in the beginning of my life, I wanted to be rich. It was the objective was if you had enough money, you could do the things that you wanted to do with your life. And so it took me to Las Vegas. I was catering to businesses, the casinos there. I was designing products for them, manufacturing them over in China at lower rates so that I could bring them in. And these, because casinos, they want to bring you into the casino, right? Their objective is to get you in the door. So they know your birthday because they have you in a database. If you've ever gone to the casino, even once or twice, they know everything about you. It's their job. And so they'll call you up and say, hey, Eddie, happy birthday, buddy. Why don't you come in and get your free coffee mug, you know? And so you go in and pick up your $1.50 coffee mug that was bought in China, designed by me, and you end up spending $250 at the slots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a win for them, a loss for you. I mean, there's no win-win involved in there. The casino's always winning, you know? So it was a good business for me because these companies would always buy a lot of stuff. But I wasn't only catering to casinos. I catered to inventors, people that were trying to bring their products to market. And let me preface this with the idea that making a product in America is great. Made in America is fantastic. But if you're a startup or you're trying to make your way in an industry, beginning is very expensive. And I did it myself. I produced products in Detroit by myself before I even went to China. So I learned that if you pay for $25,000 for a mold base in America, you could get that same mold base made in China for $500. Yeah. Think about that change. It's literal. It's so huge. It's success or failure, you know. So I helped an inventor manufacture his product in China, and in doing so, I enabled him to successfully sell his product at a margin in the States, support his family and his kids, and also support the business that was selling at retail, like Dick's Sporting Goods and different things. Yeah. So, and I have so much integrity. Like when I have a customer, he's like my family. Just to let you know, we're in Vietnam. We're in a place called Dong Hoi, and we're on a wharf. There's some boats behind us. For those of you listening to this, and there's a group of people staring at us like we're spectators. And there's a kid with a fedora, and then
Can we get the kid over here real quick? I want to get him on video.
I don't know. I think they'll end up moseying over.
Yeah, this guy's the man.
They're working their way over.
Yeah, I don't know. He's upset about something.
Yeah, he's not happy that his sister is taller than him. Hello.
Anyway, so
Why is he so sad? Why is he so sad? Hello. Say hello. Hello. How are you? So funny. All right, back to the story. So all right, I'm gonna sum this up because I'm getting a little long. I tend to get long-winded.
No, it's good. It's good.
But it's important to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah. So I moved to. I failed in Las Vegas. I had a huge order, and it failed. I went severely into debt fixing the problem for my customer. China failed me. And I wanted to know why China failed me because, first of all, I was toast. I had used up all the money I had and went into debt fixing this problem for my customer, and I was sitting there at my kitchen table, hands in my head, saying I could either re-enter the workforce and try to get a real job, or risk everything, move to China and get rich. That was my objective, to get rich. So I chose plan B.
Just as an idea, to give the audience an idea, when was this roughly?
It was 10 years ago, okay. September 2009.
So 10 years ago, you drop everything and move to China.
Moved to China. In China, that's where I learned that I had a few passions that were undiscovered by me. I didn't realize. Mm-hmm. One, video. I love video. I love the idea that you can create a moving picture that can tell a story that emits an emotion or can teach somebody or show somebody something. And two, I learned I love traveling. I met a guy who changed my life. His name's Ryan. For those of you that know JaYoe Nation, you know this guy. He's a relaxed California dude that could live. I always thought money was important to live. He thought experiences were important to live, and the money is inconsequential.
Money follows suit.
If you're working in a forward direction, first of all, you don't need so much money, right?
Right.
And second of all, the money will come. Even the little bit of money that you need. I mean, how much is the hotel we're staying? It's $10 a night, you know? $7 a night?
I think I got $12 a night,
yeah,
including breakfast.
And this is a hotel we're staying at. If you stayed in a hostel, you could stay in Vietnam for like $5, $6 a night.
A waterfront hotel.
It's beautiful.
With a beautiful restaurant,
it's beautiful
rooms.
It's beautiful. And so I started building a tour. I said, you know what? I don't think that I want to do my business anymore. I think I'd like to follow my flow state. I want to follow what inspires me. And so originally I was going to do this with my friend Ryan. And this is a long side story. We ended up parting ways.
Yeah.
We were two different people. He had given me this inspiration for travel, but it didn't quite work out as a duo. Traveling together I'm a solo traveler at heart. I've realized that. There's people that can travel solo and there's people that can't. And I'm one of those people that I do much better solo.
Let me ask you a question. So throughout this life of, doing various projects, 60 jobs and, trying many different things, was striking always something that you loved or like underpinning this whole thing, or was traveling really a love that you found once you went to China and saw this different culture and met all these different people?
Well, you say triking. I mean, like the trike was something that was that I never rode a bike until I moved to China. I climbed Mount Everest in 2016. When I wrote down I wanted to climb Everest, I never climbed a mountain before.
This guy climbed Mount Everest.
Well, I got to Camp 4. I had to turn around. I got sick.
Really?
Yeah, I had a health problem. I could touch the summit.
What's the elevation of Camp 4? I was having this conversation the other day with somebody.
Camp 4 is 8,100 meters, I think. It's right near the top.
8,000. Yeah, it's about. I know. Everest is about 29,000 feet. Base camp is 19,000 feet.
I was at like 8,000 meters when I had to turn around.
Okay.
So I was right there.
So you got a decompression sickness? Or?
It was a combination of things. The night before I had a heat stroke, which is weird to think you'd have heat stroke on the top of a freezing cold mountain, but the sun is beating.
Yeah.
And I had some issues. I had some issues that if I was to climb Everest again, I would succeed.
Right.
It was a learning experience.
Knock on wood.
But the problem is that the learning experience costs like 6 figures. It's almost $100,000 to climb Everest.
Yeah.
So that's a problem with Everest, is that you don't have a chance most people don't have a chance to do it twice. They invest their whole life savings in the first time, and it's that life savings drive that causes them to oftentimes lose their life because they feel like so much pressure that I can't turn around. I refinanced the house. I can't turn around. I spent so much, And so I have a long road ahead of me. Everest is a piece of my overall puzzle, and I'm very proud I got as high as I got. The expedition was wonderful. I have no regrets.
From there, it wasn't a risk worth taking, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
the upside did not substantiate the downside.
I want to stand on top of Everest, but it's not worth my life. Nothing is worth my life. The journey is the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I designed this tour to travel around the world, connecting my bucket list items. It runs through 100 countries. It's been going now for about 5 years. I see myself riding for another 15 before I reach America. You're meeting me in Vietnam. I started in Shanghai. So I went from Shanghai to Korea to Japan, Japan to Taiwan, back to mainland China, down into Vietnam, into Laos. And you're seeing me as I came back out of Laos into Vietnam. Next couple of days, I'm going to be hiking in the largest cave system in the world, the Son Doong Caves.
They say that there's been less people that have been in Son Doong Cave than have climbed Mount Everest.
I know.
He'll be one of the few that has done both.
Done both. Yeah.
So Matt, traveling around the world for 15 years to come on a trike.
Yeah.
with tons of adventure, seeking the flow state of mind, or the yo.
The yo. Seeking the yo.
So far, what's been a few highlights that you've experienced?
I mean, obviously, standing at Camp 3, looking up at Everest, even though I was broken at that point in time, like, you know, pushing yourself to the limit is a fantastic thing. I was talking to my friend Matt. I'm doing the Sondong Cave with my best friend Matt, and he's a backpacker. He's been to 60+ countries.
So, sorry, for those of you who don't know, tell the audience what Sondong Cave is all about.
Sondong is a cave system. Was only discovered about 12 or 15 years ago, so it's fairly virgin. It's in a part of Vietnam that's government controlled. Not a lot of people get to go there. It's very expensive to go there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're talking $2,500 just for a 5-day expedition, and the caverns are.
But it's the biggest cave
in the world.
Cave in the world, only found 15 years ago. The reason is because it's in the middle of the densest jungle. So actually, Matt just got to Dong Hoi, which is the jumping off point. I just come back from Phong Nha, which is where the cave is, or close to where the cave is.
There's a lot of caves in the area, right?
There's a bunch of caves. I went to one of them called Paradise Cave. Songdong is like a 5-day walk through the jungle, so you're looking forward to a 5-day walk through the thickest jungle I've ever seen in my life.
It's gonna be epic.
But it's the biggest cave. It has its own ecosystem. There's like, I think, clouds and rivers that run through it. It's
emerald rivers through chasms, and this big epic cathedral-like main cathedral that you've seen. If you go to Sondong, and then you'll see.
So what does flow state or yo mean for you, and how do you see yourself incorporating that, throughout your trip?
Well, I mean, like I said, flow is different for everybody. For me, the flow state, I guess, is a feeling, right? It's like your feeling of ultimate exhilaration. That for you, right? Your exhilaration comes from surfing. Like the perfect wave probably is right where you're in your flow state. For me, it's my flow state comes from producing a story that intrigues people, that inspires people, that makes them feel like they're learning something or they want to do something. The ultimate thing for me would have somebody write me and say, Matt, I'm taking a leap of faith to move to Japan because I saw your videos of Japan, which has happened. Or Matt, my daughter has muscular dystrophy or is paralyzed from the waist down, and I didn't know a way to bond with her until I saw you having so much fun on that trike. I bought me and my daughter one, and now we have a chance to have a relationship.
And these are stories.
These are actual stories. I receive emails on a daily basis from people all over the world that I've never met before. In fact, I mean, this is wild, right? We're staying in the Dong Hoi hotel, the same hotel. Earlier today, in walks this guy from the street. And my trike is parked in front of the hotel, just parked there while I'm staying here. He comes in, he points. Okay, I'm an American who makes YouTube videos and puts them out to the world. I was just in Laos. I pick a hotel in Dong Hoi at complete random, and this guy walks in, big, tall, white guy with a big bushy beard, a big smile on his face. He walks up to me. He says, "You're Matt." And I says, "Yeah, I am Matt." He's like, "I watch your videos. You helped me to buy a trike."
Really?
Yeah. He bought a trike. He bought a trike.
Wow, that's incredible.
Because he saw my video. He's like, "You helped me to understand that, and like, I have so much fun on that trike. I feel like I'm a new man when I take that trike out. Thank you so much."
Yeah.
That has given me a new lease on life in a way. Like, he's not saying that like I've changed his life, but I've given him a little bit of right? I've helped him achieve his flow state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about that. And we're in a hotel in Vietnam. I'm nobody.
Yeah.
And the reach that you can achieve from sharing your story, and you couldn't have done this 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You'd have to get to get the National Geographic. You'd have to get financing and all these different parts of the puzzle. But no matter what, and the trike is like a small demographic. It's so small, you would never get a TV to even pick up your story because you're too small. It's too niche. Yeah. There's not enough money to pay the video guy and the advertising budget and all this different thing. But as a YouTuber, you can tell your own story. Yeah. And Ken will walk into your hotel and say, hey, I know you. You know what? I let him ride the trike today. Yeah. I got it on video. It's part of the vlog. If you guys want to watch a vlog, I'll somehow link it to this thing. But he said, today was one of the top moments of my entire life.
Really?
He said that. You know, to be able to give somebody that sort of a thing.
Joy.
That sort of joy. You know, when I ride around, my trike is very weird. Like, you looked at it, I saw your face. Yeah. Like, what is this thing?
Well, I took it for a spin as well. I've never been on a
What'd
trike
you
before.
Think?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was kind of scared I was going to get run over. I didn't know if people could see me. I guess it does have this big flag, but you're so low to the ground, you kind of feel, you feel like the cars are towering above you. I don't know. I only went around the block, but I could probably get used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. But, you know, when people see me, they have never, most of them, have never seen that before. You are giving them every day to hundreds and hundreds of people I pass by on a daily basis. I'm giving them an experience they have never seen in their entire life and might never see again. They've seen cycle tourists on upright bikes. They've seen backpackers galore. But they've never seen a yellow three-wheeled bicycle with a foreigner sitting on it with all these flags and everything. And I jokingly say it's like a smile machine. It's like you're riding around a smile machine, and it just spreads joy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I could already feel my abs clenching up just going around the blocks. I mean,
I wish my abs clenched more.
Around the whole world, you really have the rock stiff abs. So.
I got good thighs. If I was a woman, man, I'd have sexiest legs around. But yeah. No, I'm happy, man. I've chose my flow stay. I found my flow stay for sure.
That's amazing, and that's so cool that you get to, hear all these stories and give back to people in the States. And, it's kind of another interesting topic. And, it's a lot of people in the States, they do work these 9-to-5 jobs, which is totally fine. They have families. They have mouths to feed.
Mouths to feed?
They have mouths to feed. And, it's part of life. But some people always say, oh, I wish I could travel. Or I wish I could do this. And they see it as this very distant dream that's unreachable. And I guess maybe tell the audience how, what does it take to come to a country like this? I mean, we talked a little bit about how the hotel is only $10 a night in front of the river.
Yeah.
I mean, is this something, obviously the average person isn't going to go trike around the world, but, can you come to Vietnam for 2 or 3 weeks and have a vacation for maybe, spending $1,000 when you're here? Your biggest expense is going to be your flight, right?
Right. I mean, the one thing that you realize is that first step is the hardest one you're ever going to take. After that, it's cake. You know what I mean? Like, I have friends in the States, my best friends, my core group of friends that, and this is nothing against them, but they fear that whole, like, how am I going to afford a plane flight? How am I going to do this? How am I going to take that first step? And the funny thing is that they pay like thousands of dollars in mortgage every day. They've got a car payment. They've got 401ks. They got income coming in. I mean, they make more money than I make, above and beyond like any income. Like they could probably save more money than I could save, but they find excuses. We are always finding excuses that are unwarranted. If you want to do something, you will do it, and you'll make excuses if that fear in you overtakes the want. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's a question about prioritization, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they prioritize getting the next car that they want, or the next TV. They might take debt out to do that. Maybe talk a little bit about how you prioritize your life to allow yourself the freedom to be able to do what you do.
It's sort of risk, but it's just giving up. Like, I don't have a car. I don't have a nice car. I got a trike. I don't have a house. I have hostels I stay at. I cash in one luxury, and I can squeeze out years of life on the road. You know what I mean? if you're addicted to those luxuries and that's who you are, then that's probably what you're going to be stuck doing. Right. We all. I'm sure you have friends, right, that are back home they'll complain about maybe what your life you live. Not complain, but they'll say, "Oh, yeah, I wish I could do that, but I can't."
Yeah.
Everybody can. I mean, no question. Especially Americans. First thing you learn when you come to Asia or in a third world country is that people here survive on very little.
Yeah.
And that the poorest American is the richest Asian, like if you're coming here to Asia. Right. So people love to live on excuses. And,
let's just say $1 here goes a really long way.
Yeah.
I think we're not telling people to quit their jobs and go travel around the world for 15 years. Obviously, you have families and you have things, but I think the idea is that if we can wrap in the conversation about the environment and overconsumption and what we're doing to the world right now with all the oil that we're burning, all the meat that we eat, all the industry that we consume on a day-to-day basis. And I think it just comes down to, hey, can we be happier with less? Can we still have a good life but just consume less and save a little bit of that money to then spend it more on experiences, to come to these countries, to connect with these people and realize that we're all human. Everybody out there is human, whether you're in the Middle East, whether you're in Asia, Africa, the US, we're all the same. And I think the more and more that we make this world smaller is the more and more that we'll start to realize that everybody will start to realize that we're all the same. Because
I think the technology is uniting the world, and it's also stirring the pot. And when you stir the pot, things come to the surface, right? Things that there's a lot of negativity in the world too, that is caused by the connectivity, right? As many good things that are connecting there are many bad things that used to be quiet but now have a bullhorn, what I mean?
That's
being perverted into a talking platform for nefarious ends, or hatred, but I believe we're on the path for greatness. We just have to get through this rough patch, and I think that we could walk down this wharf right now and we could see all these Vietnamese people with iPhones in their hand connecting with their friends and connecting with people all over the world, and we're becoming closer. Everybody is becoming closer, and like I said, sometimes that can create problems, but I think overall it's a good thing.
So Matt, you're traveling around the world 15 years. Give us first, I want you to pick a song, first one that comes to your head that describes you or who you are, or maybe describes the life experience that you've had, or something around JaYoe or what have you. I'll let you think about it.
Yeah.
And then I'd also like you to give, a couple pieces of life advice for the, just for the basic
viewers.
Life advice for the viewers. If you were to, I asked, we went out to dinner today with Ken and our other friend Link, who's 74.
Interesting
Link
cat.
Was in broadcasting for years, owned railroads, worked at Qualcomm. He's done, what has he not done? He's incredible stories about his life, and now he's living between here and Australia. And I asked him the same question, and his first piece of advice was follow your heart. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but anyway, along that vein, I'd like to.
Well, my dad, who passed away a year ago, and just kind of, I'm throwing this. The reason I was sitting in there today is that yesterday my grandpa died.
So sorry to hear that.
I was compiling all of the video from my dad's death because I scanned all of his old home movies, and I was compiling all of the clips of my grandpa. And so I was crying and laughing and crying and laughing and crying and laughing in the corner of that hotel all day today. It's been like this roller coaster. Normally I'm a very positive, all my stuff is very positive, happy-go-lucky stuff. But my dad, he taught me empathy, which is which is one of the most important qualities to have as a traveler, to understand the people around you and what shoes they're wearing, you know, and to understanding your fellow man is one of the most important qualities anybody could have, you know. That's one. Two, my dad taught me that he told me this thing. I probably didn't even think about it much when he said it, but it sank in when I was at that perfect age of 9 or whatever. It was really young. He said, life is what you make of it. And you know, I'm sure all of you have heard that, right? Everybody's heard life is what you make of it, but really embrace the idea of that, that you're sitting behind that desk because of decisions that you made. And if you're happy there, that's okay. But if you're not, you are in the driver's seat of your life. You have a choice to make that plunge. You have a choice to take that risk. You know, life is only according to your input, you know. So if you want to travel around the world, make moves in that direction. You know, it's all up to you.
Or
so
if
many
you
people
launch a company, start your own
whatever you want to do, whatever drives you.
If you want to learn tango dancing, go
take
and do
steps. You know, Bill Gates started poor. Einstein started dumb. You know, everybody starts from a state, you know, and then they decide that their life wants to go in a different direction, and they move in that other direction. So life is what you make of it. Make that, you know, make that drive in order to do that. If I didn't want to make my life this way, it would not be this way, you know. And so you, as long as you have the passion for something and you understand that you have the capability to do it, you all have the capability to do anything that you want to do. I believe that. You know, some people might argue that fact, you know, but I think I was on Mount Everest. There was a guy with no feet, a Chinese guy that was climbing Mount Everest. He had spikes on the bottom of his stubs, and you know, I looked at that and said, wow, well, you know, you don't even need feet to climb Mount Everest. You know what I mean? Life is what you make of it. He wanted to climb Everest. He's made himself do it, you know? So yeah, definitely.
So if you don't have feet, go climb Mount Everest.
Go climb Mount Everest. Hey, I didn't say that, did I? No, geez, song. I don't know. The first one that comes to mind is Spirit in the Sky, but that doesn't have a meaning. You know that song?
Which one? By
Steppenwolf?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's sort of I'm not a very religious guy. I'm not religious at all, but I just loved that song when I was a kid. I used to listen to the beat. Amazing. Like that song just gives me goosebumps when I listen to it. So I mean that song just gives me a feeling of JaYoe, you know, like it just carries with it that emotive, add fuel. So maybe that song, not necessarily for the lyrics, but for the, you know, for the feeling that you get when you listen to it. For me personally, you know, but I guess that'll be.
Well, great. So and how, if our audience wants to follow you on your trip around the world?
You
might get stuck following him for 15 years. FYI.
Man. I might become. You know, what's funny is people walk up to me I've never met before, and are like, you know, they'll spout out things about my life like they're my best friends because I share everything. Like my vlog, my videos are me, the essence of me. I leave no stone unturned. So if you want to follow me, you can go on YouTube. The word that I have adopted is JaYoe, JaYoe. That's one word, JaYoe. So if you put that into Google, you'll get a whole bunch of me. So,
great.
Check it out.
Well, we'll leave you with that. We're here on the Trail Less Traveled with Matt from JaYoe. Please follow him. I'm Eddie from Flowrad. Love it if you follow me on my adventures as well.
Cool.
Take care, guys.
Later.